Hi there, it's Polly here. Yay! With Mr. Snoots. And the occasional assistant. I had some arrivals sent by the publishers, so caveat on that. However, they are some of my favourite publishers. They're my favourites because I actually honestly like what they do. So this is from Stellagama Publishing, and this is Than Ligt NOMAD. Now this is their new flagship science fiction gaming system, and it is a really good job. So its roots are in the Traveller style 2d6 system, but it is not Cepheus and it is not Traveller. It is its own thing. And you can, quite rightly ask, why would you play this rather than, say, the new Cepheus system? Well, it does different things in different ways, and it is designed for a slightly different style of play. So let's have a look. So look, first off, it's a great little production. It comes as a softcover. There's not a ton of artwork in here. It is done usually with some wonderful homemade art and cool old clip art, because it's staying in a very old traditional sci-fi style. And one of the cores of that is simplicity. To have a robust system that doesn't have a ton to niggle about, to fight about, to learn, to argue about. It doesn't have 1,000 charts and tables. It's just a really good, easy to learn system that's easy to apply. So, structurally, as far as the game system goes, this is a 2d6 system. Like Original Traveller, you're rolling 2 6-sided dice and you're looking for an 8 or higher. There isn't increased difficulty levels to roll against for the difficulty of the task. So you don't have to keep track of pluses and minuses to dice rolls, or, are you rolling against an 8 or a 10 or a 15 or whatever. It's always an 8, but they've taken the sort of advantage mechanics that we've seen in other games and applied them to a 2d6 game. So you are getting advantage and disadvantage dice. Woohoo, drinks. Black plum wine, my favourite. Put the wine down, hang on. So how they're doing this is, as you are gaining a bonus or an advantage in a situation, you're adding an extra dice to the mix. If you're getting disadvantages, you're adding a disadvantage dice to the mix. They cancel each other out. So if, for instance, you're firing with a weapon but it's outside of its effective range band, you'll add a negative dice, a disadvantageous dice. But if you've got some cool bit of kit, like this thing has some amazing gyro stabilizer, or you've aimed, which gives you an extra bonus, that's an advantage dice. They cancel each other out. So if you've got one disadvantage dice, one advantage dice, obviously even Stevens. But if you end up with more, say, advantage dice and disadvantage, what you're doing is you're rolling that total number of dice and you're keeping the best 2. So if I've ended up with one advantageous bonus, that means I get one advantage dice. So instead of rolling 2d6, I'm rolling 3d6 and I'm keeping the best 2. If I've got one dice of disadvantage at the end of just that simple subtraction or addition process, I would roll 3 dice and I would keep the worst 2. And that's actually a really simple mechanic, because it gives you a definite difficulty result, which is really clear and often quite striking. It's way better than just adding in 1 or 2 points and so on. And it also sort of means the game operates well when you've got like 1 or 2 levels of skill in things, rather than sort of having to have combat rifleman 5 in order to survive, etc. So a really, really good mechanic there. the strengths of that are you're not having to look at tables to get pluses and minuses for weapons at ranges or little tiny bonuses or something. It's just, is there something in this particular moment that is more or less difficult? Yay, see, Snoots approves. So I really like the mechanic. Quite simple character creation. So what you're doing is you are going to be splitting 5 points initially up amongst skills. Skills are what defines your character. There's no what you'd normally think of as characteristics. There's no strength, dexterity, endurance, no. That's gone. So you've just got these basic skills, and they are physical and combat. What else have we got? Combat, knowledge, physical, social, stealth, vehicles, technology. Now, you're splitting points up amongst those. And think of them like the old traveller skills. You've got a 0 to a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in them, but your physical is going to not only govern things like running and jumping and swinging and smacking someone in the head with a club, but it's also going to govern your fatigue and how much damage you take. So, okay, important to keep. If you're going to be the combat wombat character, you can't just throw everything into combat, which is going to be a dice roll bonus to that roll 2 dice looking for an 8 or higher. But if you put it all into the skill, you're still going to be a weak character. But knowledge and so on also runs into a lot of kind of use in all kinds of things, such as repairing starships or xenobiology or politics or whatever. Okay, possible dump stat for the potential combat artiste. However, stealth is not only acts of stealth, sneaking and creeping and what have you, but it is also spotting ambushes and these sorts of things, spotting clues, perception, that sort of stuff. So you're going to want sort of to make a bit of a balanced character depending on what you're going to play. Now, these numbers are going to add to the 2d6 roll that you're rolling to succeed. So if I have 2 levels of skill in social, and I am rolling to charm everyone as I come to this party. I'm rolling 2 dice and adding that social skill to the result. So 8+, but if I've got 2 in social, good. Effectively, it's a 6+. I'm rolling 2d and adding the +2. So the combat's very, very generalized. That's for fisticuffs, orthagamizer, and it's also for guns, bombs, knives, all that cool stuff. How it gets more nuanced comes in the next phase, because first off you're going to pick an archetype. And there's a whole stream of different archetypes, and what these do is effectively they give you a bonus, an advantage dice under a set of circumstances, and they have a huge stream of suggestions, but each one of these allows you to sort of mold it however you want. It's to make the kind of character whose story you feel like playing. So, if you want to be an agent, like a spy or something, all right, it'll say, these are the kind of things you could be: an agent, a spy, a police detective, a galactic effectuator, and they would give examples of where your advantage dice might come in. So what do they got? You might get a bonus when bribing officials, investigating for clues, or skulking about areas trying to stay unnoticed, as suits you. But you could be an engineer or an outlaw, outsiders, which are the primitive person now cast into the science fiction thing. The barbarian you guys picked up in that spacecraft, or whatever. Roughnecks and scholars and mystics and all kinds of things. So you do that, but then you can choose to be an alien if the setting allows it. Depends on what the umpire has cooked up for your setting. If so, then that alien will have possibly physical abilities and special abilities. They won't be straight human. Humans and so on, you will now get to pick talents. And they're what kind of give more nuance into, say, the combat, for instance. There are different types of talents that you can get. There are combat-based talents. There are personal-based talents. What else have we got? Professional talents. So the combat talents will be things like you're a martial artist, you're a great sniper, you're a heavy weapons person, you're a quick draw, you're a great shot, you're a melee combat specialist, you're a scout that's got a really good eye for ambushes, you're a leader. All these sorts of things come under combat, so they give you, so that's where the nuance comes. Not from, I've got combat rifleman 2, but I've only got pistol 1, but I do have the ability to use a machine gun. This is where this comes from. But on the personal level, the special traits can be things like, your character's persuasive, your character is, a daredevil, your character is horribly hyper-focused. No, you can be a great deducer. You could just be friendly. You could have a big mouth. But this does allow you to make quips that diffuse tense situations. You're very determined. You've got eidetic memory. All these sorts of things. And the professional traits, they're things like piloting and engineers and demolition experts or expert detectives. What else have we got? Yeah, commando, con artists, hackers, intelligence analysts. All this sort of things. And again, these pretty much always give you bonus dice in the set situation. So that covers if I'm a mighty pilot, ace pilot. When piloting ships and other vehicles, you get a +1 on the positioning roll when we get into the combat system for vehicles. Okay, so you've got a fatigue, which is based on your physical skill plus a number, 14, I believe, and when you take damage, it comes off that fatigue number. When that fatigue gets to 0, you are wounded. And at the end of the combat, you have to roll on this triage table, which tells you whether this is, like, 'tis but a flesh wound. Can it disable you? Can it kill you? If you take more wounds while you're down and wounded, you get a negative on the triage roll. So if you're down and then take consequent, or if it's been a massive wound that's taken you deep over your fatigue. But you will roll and it will tell you maybe you died, maybe you didn't. It's actually not too risky to be killed outright as a player character unless you took a ton of damage. Sounds fair and reasonable to me. So again, a pretty simple damage system. Combat, you're rolling for initiative. Everyone gets 2 actions in a turn. An action is moving or firing or operating equipment or what have you. If you're going to do firing twice, you do fire twice, but the second roll gets a disadvantaged dice because you're blazing away. You can aim and fire, and the aim will give you an advantage dice. Automatic fire, you basically roll twice to hit, but you have a disadvantage dice on the roll because, this thing bucks around. If the weapon is listed as like a full auto weapon, you can actually obviously you can roll twice in each action, but you can take 2 actions firing. So you get 4 rolls to hit, but they're getting progressively less and less likely to hit as it goes on. You can do suppressive fire, which tends to really empty your magazine, but it affects everyone in a set zone, and they have to take a morale roll in order to do actions. Morale is definitely a thing in combat. The suppressive fire and so on does mean that you can get little tactics. So I'll have this guy over here who doesn't have much skill. He doesn't need it for suppressive fire. He's just got to empty the magazine in the general area of his enemy. So right, you repress them and I'll try and pick them off. You can do all these sorts of things. Automatic fire tends to empty out your magazine very quickly. Reloading takes actions. Combat is divided into simple range bands, kind of close and medium and long. They're keeping it theatre of the mind. There are rules in here if you really want to use figures and miniatures and whatever. They say, well, you can, but the stuff is there to do theatre of the mind, because the thing about Old Traveller and so on was the range that a sci-fi game plunges through. One moment you'll be exploring some strange Venusian planet, next thing you're going through an alien base, next thing you're on a starship, next thing you're on some star base somewhere, next thing you're at a starport. It's way more laissez-faire and wide travelling. So this kind of thing you'll see with a lot of modern D&D games, where they can play a whole game just on a table with a couple of houses, a pub, and some barrels on it. It's like, no. So yeah, it does keep it very much theatre of the mind. So it's funny. It seems like it's desperately simple as I was looking at it, just having, say, that combat skill. But I like it. The whole thing is designed to get you playing as quickly as possible. So once you've done your skills and your archetype and your traits, you can just roll money and purchase things, and they've got a list of what kind of tech base umpires can choose from for your environment. But they've also got essentially just equipment packages that you can just start with. So yeah, my guy's an ace pilot, bit of a rogue and a bit of a scoundrel. Fantastic. What are you going to take? I'm going to take the I'm going to take the kind of wandering rogue pilot kit. So yeah, what do you got? Oh, cool sidearm, some light body armor, some tools for lockpicking, these sorts of things. Great experience rules. One of the problems with the original Traveller was that your character, as it started, was the best it was ever going to be. In this, you do go up in experience, and they say there are basically about 5 levels of experience, from like, you are starting off as an experienced person, but you'll become more and more adept and expert as you get out there. And every time you leap up a new level, which often comes from completing adventures, there isn't like an experience point system. It more comes off achieving games goals and completing quests and adventures and these sorts of things. But you will gain new layers, and each time you gain a new layer, you may choose to do one time only, pick another archetype, or you can do things like you gain extra skills or gain extra traits. And again, they're not game breaking, but you will be a little bit better as you go on. And coolness. The game has a really good vehicle combat system in it and chase system in it. And this rolls upwards to a starship combat system. The thing I noticed about the starship combat system is there's something for everyone to do. Excuse me. As the characters get engaged, whoever's like the captain will be doing tactical rolls. Whoever's the pilot, he's rolling to position. Gunners get to shoot. Repair teams get to repair. Medics get to treat people. Other people get to try and get intelligence on the enemy ship and scan and this sort of thing. So there's a lot of involvement. No one's just kind of sitting there waiting for the combat to end because they picked a gun-toting maniac and there's nothing for them here. So great. There are systems here for designing starships. Unlike the Traveller system, this isn't a niggly thing of massaging tons and PowerPoints and so on. It's a fairly simple system where you're taking different sizes and frames which have equipment slots and so on, and you're choosing what goes into this. More equipment means less drives, means a slower, less agile ship. You're trying to massage it a bit, but you don't need a degree in game mini-maxing and rorting in order to come up with your cool ship. They've got rules there for financing ships if somehow you want to purchase one, but of course the old sci-fi stand-up of you are hired by some people and they provide a ship, or you're part of an expedition. That's always there. But the design rules are in there and they're great. There's design rules for robots and so on. There's then rules for travel and fast and light travel and how it works at the different tech levels that they have proposed. They're quite simple tech levels. Again, it's not like, say, Traveller, where you've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, through to tech 18, 16, what have you. No, they've got kind of early space age, higher intersystem age, early interstellar, mature interstellar, very high-tech interstellar, that sort of thing. So there's rules for exploring systems, and I quite like it if you're trying to generate inhabited planets. It will have a little system of tags. They've got big D66 charts where you can just come up with quick color tags for a planet that you go onto. What's this place like? It's incredibly stormy, and habitats are accordingly. This is divided into different kind of corporate districts who tend to be mutually hostile. You also roll for resources and things like that pretty simply again, but there are some quirks and so on that you can roll for the planets, and they might be, this is a valuable resource that is under contest, so that there are people who are battling over this resource, or there are certain goods that are very, very hard to get in this place, or there are certain weather conditions that make certain types of materials degrade very quickly. And so there's a great way of setting up quirks for inhabited planets. There's rules there for doing alien worlds. There's rules there for exploring. Some cool rules for creating xenomorphs, for creating alien creatures, which can also, of course, roll over into creating alien species that you wish to play. But at each stage, it's done simply, and it's all about the colour, not about hundreds of different factors and characteristics and so on, because those characteristics and factors aren't there. So it's just like, how tough is this thing? What quirks and traits does it have? Which is going to play into your adventure. So look, I really like this. There's lots of tools in here. There's encounter charts and so on, but it's not just you go on a planet and for some reason 4 thugs attack you. No, it's like when you're moving in different worlds, what you find. So they've got encounters, legal encounters, if you're dealing with lawyers and what kind of lawyers and corruption or assistants or noble folk do you meet. Roles for dealing with the law, roles for dealing with underworld people, roles just blundering around a spaceport, wandering around with bureaucrats, in exploring wild areas, natural events, stellar events, social events, high society. Way more kind of story creation tools and charts than you normally tend to find in a lot of these games. So that kind of very simple combat focus is way more focused on the color of the game rather than nitty gritty, do I get tiny pluses and minuses with this particular weapon over this one? And the same goes, I'm seeing, with the rest of the game. It's very much about the color. What's this planet feel like? What's the problems it's going to give us in the story? What's the things that we're going to have to work our way around? And how is this going to throw out adventure material for the players? So look, as a flagship system, I think Fast and Light Nomad is a really good piece of work. Now, Stellagama are really good at bringing out settings and additional books, so obviously they're planning on doing a ton of material for this. So this would be a real choice game for me for doing a science fiction role-playing game campaign. Like I said, the focus is not on minor variations between characteristics and big batches of skill. Your character is being made in big expressive strokes of the paintbrush, and those big expressive strokes are the things that are going to bring story into the game and kind of fun into the character. What's its personality? What's its archetypes? What's it good at? What does it suck at? What are its particular quirks? And what are the quirks of the place it's in? And what are the quirks and the plot and story hooks of the people they're meeting and the places they're going? So excellent work. Really, really highly recommended. So I think this is a really good set of rules. Go and find it. It's on drive-through, and check out the rest of the stuff that Stellagama has. But They're great. They're great. So anyway, whee! I shall fetch the wine. Here's wine. Yeah, an excellent game. Do check it out. So, thank you for watching the channel, and hopefully I see everyone around the games table at some stage. Look after yourselves, look after each other, and we will see you anon. Yay!